Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Midnight Markets podcast. My name is Sofia Cruz, your host, and today we have an amazing guest, Sam Schwar. Could you please introduce yourself?
Of course. My name is Sam. I am a junior here at GW. My major is international affairs, and I'm concentrating in global economics.
Amazing. Global economics.
Yes.
And you were telling me that you've done things related to your major. You actually worked with UBS this last summer, right?
Mm-hmm. Over the summer, I was an intern at UBS within Global Wealth Management, and it was really cool.
That's amazing. Global Wealth Management. And, I mean, for people that don't know, because our analysts tend to listen to our podcast, they would like to know what exactly did you do at Global Wealth Management?
Me included, but when I first found out that I was interning at UBS, I thought of it just as a bank. I'd be doing bank stuff, more specifically to global wealth management, because obviously global wealth management is different than investment banking and whatever else like you do at a bank. But then as my internship started, I quickly realized that my specific internship was a little different than all the other interns, because within global wealth management, I was interning for a group called Group Functions.
Mm-hmm.
And Group Functions is unique because you're not necessarily dealing with clients' portfolios and their investments. It's not necessarily financial advisors and their assistants and all that stuff. It's almost like the unseen work that happens at a bank. Exactly. And the reasons why clients choose the banks that they choose, I think a lot of that has to do with the work that Group Functions does.
Group Functions. You were not what most people tend to think, global wealth management, just, or wealth management specifically. It's just, looking at clients' portfolios but it was the behind the scenes you were saying, behind what happens in banks and what specific things.
To expand on what I was talking about, a lot of my work over the summer dealt with client events. Sort of coordinating client events was a big part of it. For example, early summer, Group Functions hosted an event at the African American Smithsonian Museum, and the first part of the event was a tour of the Double Victory exhibit at the museum, and which focused on the African American military experience.
Oh, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So you were behind all this, it's a lot of work.
Yeah. To get the event rolling out a few weeks before the event, I went to the museum to meet with their special projects coordinator, and she gave me a tour of the exhibit. And it's only one little section of the museum. It's not the entire museum. It took 20-30 minutes to run through, but she gave me that tour so I could get a first-hand experience of what the event would look like. And then we moved on to more logistical information, how are clients going to get into the building? Who's going to greet them at the front door? How are we going to separate these clients from because it's a public museum, how are we going to separate these clients from the public that are also using the museum at the same time?
Exactly. And you were representing your bank.
Yes.
Yes. You had to make sure everything was running perfectly, right? Yes. But going to wealth management, you were literally facing contractors, clients too, and also people you worked with, right? But is there something that surprised you about wealth management?
It's so many things. So many things surprised me about wealth management. Just how big it is was a big thing. Mm-hmm. I thought that wealth management was going to be bland. I thought it was just going to be a bunch of people walking into a bank, doing their Excel work, their phone calls, et cetera, but especially at UBS, there was a lot of team culture. Mm-hmm. And a lot of excitement in the work office, people checking in on each other, a lot of laughing, a lot of conversations, and it was just a great environment to be in as well.
Yes, you feel like you can thrive in that environment.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. It was my first corporate 9-to-5 experience, and I think the hardest part of my day was just dealing with the 100-degree weather every day, walking to and from work every day. That was the hardest part.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's great. You've been telling me how you've been in this type of environment, and this is something that you were doing this summer.
Yeah.
And if people really want to do wealth management or global wealth management more specifically for their future careers, is there specific things that you said, this is, because you were telling me, right? This is the environment I feel like I can thrive in. What are some factors somebody can look at about how they react when teams or how they talk with teams? What are some traits that you need to do good in global wealth management?
That's a really good question. I would say being social, being confident, and when you make a mistake or if you're in an awkward situation, being able to move past it really quickly.
That's great. I mean, I bet you've had like many encounters in your professional life that you've been like, and specifically this last summer that you were like, oh, these are traits that somebody needs for real.
Yeah, definitely specific to my internship. A lot of meeting people you've never met before. And these are people that have been doing this job for years. They know what they're talking about. Me specifically, I'm new, I'm learning, and sort of like playing into that role of like, you're an intern, you're learning. These people don't expect you to know everything. These, like, if you make a mistake, these people aren't expecting you to be perfect, and they want you to learn from this experience. I think that was like a big part of my internship, was just getting over the fact that these people aren't judging me or looking at me a certain way for being an intern that knows like virtually nothing about this role that I just joined.
Those are even like warming, like those are warm words for anybody who's like trying to intern really too, because it's just, you're learning, they're teaching you, and it's just your behavior what shows who you are.
Yeah. And heavy on the social part. I'm like, I almost want to like say it into the mic.
Yeah.
Like heavy on the social part. Just being able to engage in conversations. And the best conversation you can be in is when they do all the talking and you do all the listening and you just ask questions and continue that conversation going. I feel like questions are a good way to keep a conversation going.
Yeah. And especially like in the workplace, right? You're always asking clarifying questions.
Oh yeah. Even like, this is something that like I had two bosses, like this is something that they would tell me all the time. Like they want me to ask questions, they want me to be curious, and they want me to like question and second guess everything that's going on.
I mean, you've learned a lot with you were telling me you had two bosses and you were asking a lot of clarifying questions. If somebody said, I need to polish these 3 skills, what would those 3 skills be?
First one that comes to mind is the ability to adapt. I think just like in general, I think that's a really important life lesson.
It is.
I remember over the summer, one of my projects was organizing an Excel sheet, and it was like an advanced Excel sheet on like an older version of Excel. So it looked really outdated. It was really frustrating. And I was working on this Excel sheet for like 8 hours, and none of my work saved.
Oh my God.
Right?
Yeah.
I was so annoyed. But it's just...
You kept on pushing.
Yeah, and it's important to plan ahead as well.
Plan ahead.
Like, think about what I have to do in the future and think about where I have time to make up the lost work.
Plan ahead.
And also being honest with your bosses, because, like, software glitches, they're not, like, human personal problems. They're software glitches, and they happen. And just making sure that your bosses or the people that you report to find out as soon as they can about something that happens. It just smooths everything out in the future.
Yeah. And oh my goodness. What happened with the document you were working on? Did you eventually get to do it?
I had to redo it all, which was fine. It was just boring. It's just like sitting in a chair.
Yeah.
And what I was doing is I had a second copy of the Excel sheet with all of the updates, because it was easier for my boss to just write over all the updates that I need to make to the new Excel sheet, as opposed to doing all of the updates in the Excel sheet herself, because the software is so old that when you make a change, it takes 2 minutes for the change to upload onto the Excel sheet. So she would send me the changes, and then I would put them into the Excel document. This conversation so boring. Like they're like so boring. None of this work is fun, but it's a part of any job. Not like your day to day is not going to be full excitement all the time.
Yeah. But I mean, you were noticing that there were these specific things on the website that were not working, right? On the internal net, right?
Yeah.
That were not working, and you were highlighting it, and you did not feel ashamed to go up to your boss and say, like, hey, actually, like, even if I lost these, like, hours doing this work, like, I actually figured out that there was something wrong, and this could, like, even affect you as a boss. Yeah.
Luckily, none of this work was on like a time crunch.
Okay.
Which was nice. It was like due in like 2 to 3 weeks, and I banged all the work out in a day, and then the next day I banged all of it out in a day again, but it was just annoying. It just delays everything else.
Yeah. That's when you were practicing what you told me earlier. Plan ahead.
Yes.
Work in advance. Yeah, and well, if you could tell yourself, and you could talk to your past self and say, this is what you need to do in order to get prepared for global wealth management, what would you tell yourself?
I would say be open-minded, definitely. When you're new, you don't run the place, and if you want to run the place, you have to be quiet, ask questions, learn from other people, and then being easy to work with, I think, is one of the best traits that you can have and that you can be.
It's really good advice for everybody, really, in any type of internships, I would say. When you told me last summer that you were going into global wealth management, I was so happy for you. I'm like, congrats, Sam. But if you were, let's say, a freshman again, what would you do differently, or what would be the advice you'd give any freshman or sophomore?
2 things. Make a LinkedIn account and engage with your professors, because I think there are so many resources that this school has to offer that I didn't necessarily pick up on until my sophomore year. And we pay so much to go to this school. We're surrounded by so much. Even our peers, everyone at our school is going to have a future someday, and we're all going to be in the same workforce. So connectivity and engagement, I think, are the 2 biggest things. And there are so many different forms of that as well. Whether it's engaging with clubs, whether it's engaging with sports, whether it's engaging with professors, whether it's engaging with yourself as well. Yeah. And the city that we live in. Exactly,
so pretty.
Right?
Yeah. Well,
and being informed as well. There's so much going on in our city, and I think a lot of people say don't follow the crowd, but sometimes I think it's okay to.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why this comes to mind, but like the cherry blossom season.
Yeah.
Everyone talks about going to the cherry blossoms. Everyone
Yeah,
everyone everyone talks about like everyone posts like their cute little pictures, but like it's okay to follow the crowd and also enjoy what everyone else is enjoying. I think mainstream things are mainstream because people like them and people resonate with them.
Exactly. And people feel identified by them.
Yes.
And that's just so interesting because most of the times, I mean, as we all know, it's like networking, but also just like live, right? Like enjoy what you have, and like in the middle of it, keep on trying, right?
I think networking is also like a great way to live.
Yeah.
Like even me on this podcast is a form of networking. Like I'm meeting new people.
He's meeting new people.
I'm reaching a different audience, but I'm also like having fun with it and like pushing myself outside of my comfort zone.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Like really good insight for anybody, really, no matter the industry they're going into, because as you mentioned earlier, like global wealth management is not what everybody would think of a bank. This is the behind what you would picture, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah. Even in banking, these banks are so big just because it's like a global wealth management and investment banking bank does not mean that there are like not opportunities within the bank that have nothing to do with banking itself. For example, you could work in marketing, helping like promote the company externally, like online through those like ads that you see all the time.
Yeah. How did you know you had this passion for global wealth management?
I'm gonna be honest, even going into my internship, I was wary. I was like very confused about whether or not this was something that I wanted to do with my future. But not everyone, I don't want to make like a generalized statement, but people seemed happy doing what they do.
Yes. And that's when you actually realized, I want to be happy while I work.
Yeah, and specifically in my internship and my role, I was meeting so many people that were working in so many different parts of the company that everyone's job was so different, but they all worked for the same company.
And you were like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
part of this too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I got to work for like this big corporation for a few months.
That's amazing. Amazing tips for anybody, really. Like, even if it's freshman or upcoming intern this upcoming summer, that's really great. Thank you so much for making time to spend with me
Of
this
course.
afternoon, Sam.
Of course, and thank you for having me.
Of course, yeah. And to the people listening, thank you so much for staying in and watching. And I hope you tune in to our upcoming Midnight Markets podcast next week.
Tune in, guys. It's worth it.